Hallo. Wo wollen Sie kommen?
Menschen hungern, Menschen frieren, Menschen sterben. Wir sind in einer Klimakatastrophe. Und alles, wovor ihr Angst habt, sind Tomatensuppe oder Kartoffelbrei in einem Gemälde. Wisst ihr, wovor ich Angst habe? Davor, dass die Wissenschaft sagt, dass wir 2050 unsere Familien nicht werden ernähren können. Braucht es Kartoffelbrei auf einem Gemälde, damit ihr zuhört? Dieses Gemälde wird nichts mehr wert sein, wenn wir uns um Essen streiten müssen. Wann ist der Punkt erreicht, an den ihr hinhört?
Hallo.
Wann ist der Punkt erreicht, an den ihr hinhört und nicht einfach so weitermacht?
Hey! Wat is dit aan het doen? Wow.
How do you feel?
No, stupid.
How do you feel when you see something beautiful and priceless being apparently destroyed before your eyes? Do you feel outraged? Good. Where is that feeling when you see the planet being destroyed before our very eyes?
Obscene. Shame on you.
This painting is protected by glass. It's justified.
Shut up. Take away from that.
Vulnerable people in the global south, they are not protected. The future of our children is not protected.
Oh, in Telegram.
People in fuel poverty who need to choose between heating or eating are not protected.
Security.
What is worth more, art or life? Is it worth more than food? Worth more than justice? Are you more concerned about the protection of a painting or the protection of our planet and people? The cost of living crisis is part of the cost of oil crisis. Fuel is unaffordable to millions of cold, hungry families. They can't even afford to heat a tin of soup. Meanwhile, crops are failing. Millions of people are dying in monsoons, wildfires and severe drought. We cannot afford new oil and gas. It is going to take everything we know and love.
So you just saw a form of activism that you did not like. You did not agree with the method. You are maybe a little angry about what the activist did. You have choices. Are you going to go on and on and on to ad nauseum about how much you disagree with what the activist did or their method or their approach? Are you going to argue about it with other people, whether or not what the activist did was good or bad or helped the movement or helped their message get out or didn't? Or are you going to focus on making positive change for the actual issue that's being brought up? Or are you going to do your own activism in the way that you think is the right way to do it? Or would you possibly think about the fact that if you listened and took action when someone calmly and nicely says, here's the problem and here's the call to action of what you can do about it, then maybe activists wouldn't have to do such crazy, out there, attention-grabbing, headline-writing things to get attention. Like maybe if you didn't ignore activists when we rationally and calmly talk to you about things, maybe activists wouldn't have to do things that you think are just so extreme or just so far. Just maybe if you put some of your time and viewing hours and attention on videos of people talking about issues in calm and, ways that you approved approaches, then we wouldn't have to resort to doing something to go viral. Maybe we could just make things go viral without the drama. Maybe if people listened to calm, rationally speaking activists, they wouldn't have to rely on drama to get someone to fucking pay attention. Because I can promise you that the activists would rather not have to do such extreme, uncomfortable, conflict-causing things. They would rather not put themselves in positions where they might get arrested or seriously injured. I think we'd all rather just have a nice conversation where we are taken seriously. By the way, going vegan is the single biggest thing you can do as an individual to fight climate change. Watch the documentary Dominion Free on YouTube. Eating animal products is unnecessary violence. Can I just calmly say that to you and have you just receive the message and do something with that information? I don't want to have to go naked into a grocery store. I'd rather just chill out at home and make art.
We are not going to be intimidated by changes to the law. They're irrelevant when we're trying to fight against thousands of people dying from cold this winter, 36 million people in East Africa dying from famine right now and because of droughts affecting their crops. When we're considering what we're fighting for, we're not going to be intimidated by changes in the law.
Are you more concerned about the protection of a painting or the protection of our planet and people?
We're a non-violent movement and we're peaceful protesters. So sure, we will cause disruption. We will, attack paintings and art, but we're only doing this until the government make a meaningful statement that they will end new fossil fuel licenses in the UK. As soon as that happens, we're off the road, we'll move out the way. Mass civil resistance is how women got the vote, how African Americans got the vote, how we got the right to roam, health and safety laws in the UK, and gay rights. All this has come from massive resistance, and that's why it's so important that we take inspiration from them and follow the same sort of tactics. So, for example, the suffragettes, they slashed paintings, they actually quite violently destroyed them, and we're just trying to throw soup at a glass pane, or still trying to get the message across in the same way.
What is worth more, art or life?
There's still a place for culture. Art has a lot of power. All the great artists in the past were, quite radical and forward-thinking, and yet that's not being addressed in the same way in the climate crisis. There's so many people who still are way, way more outraged about that action than about 33 million people in Pakistan being displaced by floods. No government in the world right now is tackling this in the way it should be. We need coordinated levels of action and climate justice, and it's so far away from that right now. Still, so many countries are increasing more fossil fuel production when we do have the solutions there, installations, whether it's public transport, and switching to renewable energies. I mean, the UK is an island. We could be using tidal power. You get over a tenth of our entire energy just from tidal power alone, and yet that's not even being considered. When you think about all the solutions that we have and how much they're being ignored and actively fought against, there's only one solution that really matters, and that's mass civil resistance.
I would like to make one thing perfectly clear. We did no damage to the painting whatsoever. I was in court yesterday, heard that there's been minimal damage done to the frame, which is repairable and replaceable, and absolutely no damage done to the painting. It was behind glass, and we never ever would have considered doing it if we didn't know that it was behind glass and that we wouldn't do any damage. I mean, literally, we were sat there still glued to the wall. They wiped it off with a bit of kitchen roll. I recognise that it looks like a slightly ridiculous action. I agree, it is ridiculous, but we're not asking the question, should everybody be throwing soup on paintings? What we're doing is getting the conversation going so we can ask the questions that matter. Questions like, is it okay that Liz Truss is licensing over 100 new fossil fuel licenses? Is it okay that fossil fuels are subsidised 30 times more than renewables when offshore wind is currently 9 times cheaper than fossil fuels?